Edgars Stafeckis, who is a partner in Digital Minds, and as we know from SigningServices, he's also going to tell us about their collaboration working together with Smart ID.
Definitely. Thank you for the intro.
Thank you, Edgars.
Hello, everybody. My name is Edgars Stafeckis. I come from company Digital Mind. We've been around already for 15 years, working with many companies in the region with their digitization initiatives. And we see, and we want to talk and also make you think about it, that e-signing is actually a must already today for a modern organization. If you at least consider being as such or want to be one, then this is a thing you definitely need to have in your pocket. I'd like to start off my presentation with a statement that we live in the digital era. You've seen lots of statistics over these 2 days and even before. I'm not going to throw out how many billion users, etc. But it's kind of clear we live in the digital era, right? It's an inevitable part of our days, of our businesses. And yet, we still sign documents on paper. They're just like the Chinese invented paper 2,000 years ago. We still keep the tradition, right? So what's up with that? Look, from my presentation, I would like you to take away 2 things. First one, e-signing is getting very, very popular. Plenty of users onboarding, the usage is going up. So on the user side, this is being resolved by kind of itself. On the other hand, there are legal standards and rules in place and the technology there for organizations to leverage the possibilities of the e-identities, e-signing. Throughout my presentation, I will now kind of talk a little bit from a helicopter perspective, like bird's view, where are the winds blowing, what is happening in the region, and then I'll come down to already more specifics into the identities and signatures. Throughout the presentation, I'll be trying to look at the topic from 2 shoes, as an individual, as a consumer, Edgars, and as from company perspective, or organization perspective, as a decision maker. So let's hit it. First, as a normal such conference presentation, also I will throw some statistics. First, don't kill the messenger. I'm just saying the statistics that are being around there. We talk about digital era, and one of the metrics that is used by European institutions is the Digital Economy and Society Index. It looks at the rate how we are proceeding digitally advancing as a whole region and each country individually, and also ranks how is everybody doing. And it takes into consideration 5 main dimensions. The first is connectivity. Is there networks or internet at all? How reliable it is? How accessible it is in terms of prices? And so on. Next one is how do people know how to use it? Do organizations leverage it? Is there enough ICT specialists and experts in each country, etc. Then, how do we actually use the internet? How do we use it? How often we use it? For what we use it? Then the next one is integration of digital technology. So how many companies actually leverage the possibilities of the digital? And the last but not the least, what the Germans say, digital public services. So is how well developed is e-government, e-health, and so forth, public services, and how well they are used in the exact country. As you can imagine, the red bar is not by accident. I'll focus more on that one. Those values you see there, this is not like percentage of how many companies or where is the exact country. This is a score. Each of my slides have also links to the source, so afterwards dig in, you'll see interesting data and also the methodologies described so you understand in more depth what's meant by this. Why am I showing these stats? Is that, especially focusing on the digitization of businesses, that is actually in Europe, it's a pretty bad score on average. Less than 20% of companies can be considered as highly digitized. Now you'll ask me, what do you mean by highly digitized? There are multiple factors taken into account. Some of them are how many companies use internet, mobile internet, how many have online presence, how many use social network to promote their services or goods, how many use big data, how many use electronic information between their parties, with employees, with customers, with partners. Sadly, we are on the lower part. Latvia among Greece, Romania, Bulgaria, company there. There's a big split. The top countries, like Finland, Denmark, Netherlands, the score is above 50. I'm not saying this to shame us or demean the efforts we've done so far. I see the progress is great, and Sanit was also referring to that. Why am I showing this is, again, to underline and put the exclamation mark that we have still yet many digitalization possibilities in the air. Yeah, so what's happening? What are the possibilities, or what's next? Europe, there is an initiative called Digital Single Market. The aim of it is to make European economy way more digitally advanced and get the benefits of the digital. It focuses on three main areas. So first one is access, that there is internet and digital environment, people can access it. It's not only about investment in that, it's also about the legal framework there. Most tangible one is, I believe everybody now enjoys that we go to Estonia or Italy and we don't charge excessive fees for roaming, right? This is one tangible thing out of this digital single market strategy. Next, moving on, is the environment. That, okay, we have already the digital environment, now are the rules, formats, standards, so that there we bring down barriers between countries. I, as Edgars, I can go to Italian municipalities or Belgium or wherever, they will accept me, that my identity will be accepted, and I sign documents that will be accepted across Europe. These are just a few examples. In terms of regulation, one of obvious here is the GDPR, which was mentioned. Again, it sets down some rules in terms of how I, as a private person, can have control over my data, digital data. The third one is already fueling the competence and the know-how of people and companies to leverage the digital possibilities. Yeah, those way more, those interested, check out. This is a very big priority for Europe. To give some measure on how big the priority is, I use these two numbers. One is the next investment or fund period. It sums up to 9.2 billion euros investment into various, into this digital single market initiative. Starting from that there is Wi-Fi on each bench in the park, up to high power computing, supercomputing, European cloud, and very many investments into people and organizations for them to pick up the digital. And in return, it is expected that the European economy, or Europe, will benefit. Money-wise, it's expected to be 415 billion euros per year. Well, do you know how much is 415 billion euros? How I choose to explain it, it can be looked like this. So sum up Latvian, Estonian, and Lithuanian GDP of 2018 and multiply by 4. And there you go. This is roughly 415 billion. Huge number. So this is a big priority. It's gonna happen. You want it or not. You don't like the E things or not. But there is a big push towards Europe to become more digital, and this includes all of us, or most of us at least, the European citizens. Now let's come to the ground. For this digital single market initiative to kick in, there are some fundamental elements. So one is the organization with services, which should be and can be electronic or digital, and the other one is me as a citizen being able to come and get those digital goods. So there are put already some ground rules. One of them, and more specific, is EIDAS regular, which sets down, states that me, Edgars, with a Latvian identity, I shall be accepted across Europe. I don't need to, again, to identify myself with some new means, I don't know, in Belgium or Spain or Portugal. I use my e-identity issued by the state, and they will accept me. Now the governments must do it, the other industries are kindly invited to do it, but who knows what the regulation will go further. And the other thing is, if I sign a document here in Latvia according to EIDAS, or in Estonia or elsewhere, it's accepted across all Europe. So we have already the rules of the game in place. Now me, as Edgars, if I want to go online and get my online services from your organization, I need to somewhat identify myself. So what are the means or ways, how can I do it? I believe everybody in the room has seen this kind of window. Also, when you were applying for this talk view application of the event, you also were able to sign up with Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or state your email and access the service. It fits for very many purposes, but then we go in more either regulated industries or where things get more serious. Then to issue the service to you, we actually, it's not enough that you say that you are Edgars and this is your data. We need more serious proof of that. So next alternative or next level would be already this remote onboarding. If you have ever made Revolt or similar services, or this is Drino or Mintos, you are already giving in photos of yourself, of your documents, making this more serious to identify that it's really you. Another option would be, in Latvia, this is a screenshot from if you want to receive public services, you can authenticate either using your bank ID or using your electronic identity. These identities work fine, everything is great and cool with that. It's just that some services, it's not enough that you have identified yourself. At some point, you need still to sign a document that proves the authenticity, that we really agreed on these terms and we each have keep the evidence. So then we need to sign data documents. Again, what are the e-signature types? First one is so-called simple electronic signature. We do this even not knowing that it has a name even. It's basically, I go everywhere, I accept cookies, I accept terms, conditions, I checkbox and say, okay, or upgrade iOS and I say, I agree, this is already a simple or basic electronic signature. Next level is already so-called advanced electronic signature, where I identify myself with some service provider and we agree that this is the way how we're going to sign documents ourselves. I kind of get my unique signing key. And the third option is I use my state-provided e-identity to confirm these transactions, to sign these documents. These are all legally binding, so stop asking, is this legally binding or not? They're all legally binding, but it's depending on the business or on the product and on your risk policy, that in each of the situations it might not be enough with simply saying, clicking it's me, or I need to actually prove to the state that this was the right person. So main difference among these here is that if you use the qualified electronic signature, it has the same legal meaning as if you were print out the document, put the ink on it, it has the same legal meaning. And it's binding not just between me and the company or the person we signed it with, but also it can be taken to outside and it's still legally binding. It's the same legal effect. I can go to court, wherever it's admissible evidence. Okay, so how can I sign using the qualified signatures? Most typical or most popular, widespread carrier of the e-signatures is the ID card. Currently, half of European Union countries, it's already a mandatory document. In Latvia, by 2023, this will be the document number 1. So if you will want to travel to countries which do not accept ID card, you will then have to go and make passport. Otherwise, you will have the ID card. This is number 1. So in the ID card, they're now already issuing that you have e-signature or e-identity accredited to you. Next, there are other tools, so-called trust service providers, means how you can sign and identify online. In this case, a mobile ID. There was an attempt in Latvia, it didn't work out, but in Lithuania and Estonia, this is a very, very popular tool, how people sign documents electronically. The third option is that there are many becoming more and more service providers, again, such as Smart ID, which come up to this list of trust service providers. So it's not that I suddenly will start issuing tools with which to sign. There is a strong procedure behind it. You need to accredit and get on the trust service providers list so that you can provide the means to me as an individual with which I will sign documents electronically. And in Europe, as of the day before yesterday, there were 178 trust service providers. In Latvia and Estonia, it's only one. LVPC in Latvia and Estonia, it's SK. In Lithuania, there are 2. In Italy, I think there was 13. So again, this is a market which then provides those convenient tools to citizens to use their e-identities and e-signing online. Great, right? We have the regulation in place, we have many tools and possibilities. How can I sign it? It has the legal meaning. Why isn't this boiling and everybody doesn't have it yet? Again, I'm trying to look at it from two shoes. First one, as an end user. I'm now also making a link to a survey which was done at the end of last year by SK. They asked people around Baltics and Finland many questions regarding the e-identities and e-signing. Why, if there are some constraints, which are they? So, most popular ones, it's difficult to start and to implement. For me as Edgars to start signing, in case of ID card, I need to go to, where is the envelope that I received with the ID card? Do I still have those pins? If I don't, I need to go to the immigration department. Then I need to prepare the computer, the smart card reader, the software, the add-ons for browsers. I come from IT consulting, I get it, but you see where the problem is. Next one, okay, I'm ready to do it, I got over that. Now I want to use it, and it's kind of clumsy to do it. If I want to sign a document with you, I need to download it, save it somewhere, then open the application or upload to online service, sign it, download, send it, and the other party does the same. Not really the experience that you would expect today, knowing the technological possibilities. Next thing, so I'm still fine with that, it will not scare me away. Next one, okay, I have it, I'm ready to use it the way it is, but I cannot use it everywhere. How many people go to Latvia, for example, for state services, or how often? Yes, I do occasionally, but probably this is currently one of the rare places where you can use your e-identity and e-signing. The next one is even there, I can do certain tasks, but then they say, oh, we only accept if you sign with ID card. Although there are already some trust service providers and tools in the market which are way more, which are different. Let's be subjective here. In the end, I get interrupted journey. I can do a lot of digital services, but in the end, the company says, oh, to do this, come to our branch and sign the paper, or do this clumsy click-clack and send us the signed document, right? And let's jump on the other side of the fence inside the company. This is already our feedback that we have gathered from companies that we have talked to in Baltics, in Poland. What they say. Sanita said about authentication. Yes, it is rather easy to implement that. But when it comes to the signing part, there is already a different kind of complexity behind it. So for company, it's rather, it's not as seamless and easy to start to implement it. And then, once you started doing it, you should all the time already listen, what are the changes, what are the updates, and so on. So maintenance and implementation is a topic for companies, why they currently don't embed it somewhere. Next thing, there are some services where you can give out the document to their application, to their storage. They coordinate the signing, and then you can come and take it back to you. This is a thing that we hear many companies don't really like. Why? Because if it's a content that needs this strong signature, it's probably something very sensitive, and you really need to keep your hand on it. Next, signing is usually not just one process. Signing is in many processes. Either you talk to customers, partners, employees, it's internal information, anywhere. So again, then it's not just one point, you start integrating one another inside the organization. Then if you want to go to next market in Europe, then you have to go and integrate to that country's trust service provider and so on. So this again brings a complexity behind it. And we always get this question, how many users actually use e-signing? Is there going to be a business case? Why should we do it? And this is the place when we talk about eggs and chicken. Asking, okay, so it's your decision today as well, so let's wait for those users who will come and tell us, hey, look guys, you are so 2000, I want to have the service fully digital, I'm ready to sign electronically, or you can already now embed in your service that I can get it fully digital. In the beginning I said that the number of users is steaming up, so that should be kind of clear. Okay, how do we imagine and believe this should be? From user perspective, it should be easy to start to have the signing means. Like Smart ID, yes, I was in a bank and suddenly I have the white Smart ID account. Those who have Smart ID, you can now pull out your phones and check out. I will not get offended that you are looking at your phone, I know what you're doing. And if you have the green background, then you cannot yet sign electronically, but many of you will have the white background. This means that you actually can already do the qualified signing. I talked to many companies, many people don't know that yet. But it was as easy as that to get already signing means that you can use for signing. Next. Should be easy to use. I told you about these all clicks. Download, save, sign, save, send. Again, not the way how it should be. It should be way easier. I enter my PIN, bam, there we go. Next, everywhere I go online, I could use it well, in many services. As I said before, there is the problem that there is still like shortage of digital services where they would offer this. And again, if I go there, I have the choice. I can use Smart ID for signing, I can use ID card or mobile ID for signing. This is my call, whichever I'm using. From company perspective, again, this should be way more simple to start, to implement, and to run it. Next thing, that you could have the security. You know that the content you've given promise to your customer, the trust of this information, so that it stays only the firewalls, you have the control over it, and of course, comply to legal norms. I'm now talking mostly about these qualified signatures, but again, different processes might require a different level of signature, and we again, we believe this can be solved way better than it's done today. Let me give you two examples how this ideal or fully digital customer journey and internal operations should look like. So, case number one. I'm a random guy coming to your company's portal and want to apply for your service. For you to issue me this service, I don't know, it's a card, it's a limit, it's something, but you don't give it out just on my promise that it's me, this is me, Edgars, logged in with Facebook. I fill in the application, all the data needed. In the end, I click submit, and then you say, actually, we need your signature on this. How would you like to sign? Smart ID, ID card, mobile ID. I say I'll use the Smart ID. On the phone, I get the invite to enter the PIN. I enter the PIN, and actually, that's it. That's all that took for me to sign using qualified signing. Afterwards, I can even download and have my hard copy of this document in electronic format. This should be as easy as that. Next one, again, inside the company, I'm now an employee. I work in a content management system or CRM or HRM, ERM, intranet, whatever your systems used in your company. I am participating in some process. At some point, again, we need a signature. In that system where I work, I click sign next to the document or file. Again, system asks me Edgars, how would you like it? What's your preferred way to do it? I say this or that, enter my PIN, that's it. And if we need to click signature from a third party, the third party gets a notification in email saying, hi, Digital Mind really wants to sign a contract with you, with all of you, about SigningServices, right? Come here to sign it. So you follow the link, opens a web page, tailored in your colors and so on, so that this person, your partner or customer, still stays within your systems. And then he's asked, authenticate. How are you going to do it? Smart ID, ID card, mobile ID, okay. I enter my PIN 1, I can access the information. At this point, you will validate that it's the right person to whom you were intending to share this document with. And if everything's fine, click sign, PIN, that's it. You already internally have a new version back. Invited systems are notified, the process goes on. Fully digital, no paper, no clicks, emails, And all the information stays within the firewall. The only thing that leaves is the hash signing at some point, but you have the full control over the signing process. And in the end, you have fully digital customer journey. I never had to leave this web page of yours or go to some branch or somewhere. I did the full thing online, and internally you have very efficient processes. Don't, again, do things that don't generate any added value. So where is the opportunity? As I started off by saying that many users, many possibilities. We know this is the right time for you to kick the E-pedal, to go and be more digital, implementing your services and systems. Grow your business, firstly, with the customers. Don't get away the noise of when you come to signing. Get a smooth customer experience. And if we talk about qualified signatures, whole Europe is your market. The legal framework is already there. You can identify your customers, you can sign documents, use it for those 3-letter abbreviations, whatever they're throwing on the desk. I'm pretty sure you're tired of them, but you can do it. This is legally binding. Secondly, let's look inside the organization, increase the efficiency while staying in the legal boundaries and leverage the E. Absolute legal meaning, no worries on that. Things like paperless office is already reality, and it does save some real cash. So what to do now is either go look up our website. There are some demos, how this from user perspective works, or come by our stand and we'll answer even more questions that you will have and demonstrate it to you. So let's hit the digital possibilities. Thank you.